In this lesson, we're going to look at how to manage data in an HTML5 web application. So the application is called MartianAttack.html. I'll just open it in a browser, just so you can see what it looks like. So we have spaceships that travel from left to right. This web page is redrawn many times per second, and each time it's redrawn, the spaceships move incrementally from the left to the right. Each spaceship has its own speed. Some travel quickly and some travel slowly. Also, we have a sun that moves from left to right, and when the sun reaches the end of the screen, then it reappears on the left-hand side of the screen again. I have my defender here, this little tank. I can move it with the mouse, or I can move it with my keyboard arrows. I can fire bullets by pressing the spacebar, or by clicking the mouse, like so. So let's see how the data looks to support that. Well, first of all, this is MartianAttack.html. The HTML5 is pretty much empty. It contains a canvas plus a series of JS files. So data.js is the file we're going to look at in this example. In the scripts folder, data.js. So I have that open already. Let's just talk about some of the features in here. Well, first of all, we use a canvas to draw everything. So this global variable stores the 2D context for the canvas. And then these two variables remember the width and the height of the canvas, so we can do some maths as the game is playing. And then I've set up some constants just to make my code nice and readable. The sky color, that's an RGB value. The start position of the sun is actually off the edge of the screen by 120 pixels, and then it moves left to right bit by bit as time goes by. Delta bullet tells me how much each bullet moves every frame. So each bullet will move 20 pixels upwards every time the frame is redrawn. Okay. What else we got? Delta for the defender. That tells me how much my defender moves to the left or the right per mouse click. So if I go back into the web page and I'll just press the left arrow or the right arrow, there we go. That's the amount that it's moving every time, 10 pixels. And then the next global variable is max bullet distance. That tells me how high up the screen the bullet can go. When it reaches that height, the bullet will automatically be wiped out because it missed all the targets. And then the next variable, hit proximity, 70 pixels is the margin of error that I have around each spaceship. So if I get within 70 pixels of a spaceship, it's considered to be a hit, and the spaceship is destroyed. The next three variables are actually quite important. These are JavaScript character codes representing the left arrow, the right arrow, and the spacebar. I have keyboard entry trapping, so that every time there's a key down event, it checks the key code against one of those values to determine what to do. Did the user press the left arrow, in which case it moves my defender to the left or to the right, and the spacebar causes a bullet to be fired. Okay, next up, we have some global variables representing all the images. And as we'll see in the code later on, I have another variable called count images loading. Loading images can take a certain amount of time. So I handle the load event on each image, and then this counter tells me when they've all been loaded. And at that point, I know that I can actually start playing the game properly. All the bullets that get created and all the spaceships that appear are held in arrays. And then I have two variables here that tell me where is my defender. So where is my defender here? What's its current position? My little tank. And is it moving to the left or the right, or is it not moving at all? So that's those two variables. And then wheel angle. You might remember if I use the keyboard to move my defender, the wheels give me the impression of rotation. So that's achieved by the wheel angle. I change that slightly every time I move to the left or to the right. And then sun position, that tells me where the sun is currently located. And obviously that moves as time goes by as well. So the sun is moving from the left to the right, like so, behind the clouds. So those are the global variables. And then also, I've set up a bullet constructor function here. This represents a bullet. Each bullet knows where it is, X and Y location, and whether or not it's defunct. A bullet becomes defunct, in other words dead, either when it gets to the top of the screen without hitting a target, or when it does hit the target. And at that point, this flag basically says this bullet needs to be hidden because it's no longer live, it's been spent. And then we have a final object here called spaceship. Each spaceship knows where it is and its speed, and the spaceship also knows whether it's dead or not. So there we go. Those are the global variables and the data types that we use for the game. We have code that animates all this using timers, but that's the actual data structure that we've set up to give me the game that we see there.